15 black actor deaths that shocked Hollywood. What if I told you that a Wakanda king secretly filmed his most physically demanding role while cancer destroyed his body in silence? That a music legend drowned in a hotel bathtub one day before the Grammy Awards in the same building hosting pre-Grammy parties? That a beloved Cosby Show star was claimed by a rip current in Costa Rica just months ago, leaving the world reeling all over again in 2025. From the first black Best Actor Oscar winner to a Spider-Man trilogy regular battling leukemia in Pittsburgh, 15 black celebrity deaths absolutely shattered Hollywood. Some at the height of their power, some in shocking circumstances. Welcome to Remembered Lives channel. Hit subscribe, drop a comment, and let's count them down. Number 1 will leave you speechless. Chadwick Boseman. August 28, 2020. That date is permanently engraved in the memory of millions worldwide. When the announcement appeared on Chadwick Boseman's Twitter account at exactly 10:34 p.m. Eastern Time, the internet collectively stopped breathing. Within hours, the post became the most liked tweet in Twitter's entire history at that point, accumulating over 7.5 million likes within 24 hours. The man who had given the world Wakanda was gone at just 43 years old. What devastated audiences wasn't just his death, it was the 4-year secret battle that preceded it. Chadwick had been diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer in 2016, eventually advancing to stage 4. Throughout filming Black Panther, which grossed $1.347 billion globally, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, Da 5 Bloods, and his Oscar-nominated final performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, he endured surgeries, chemotherapy infusions, and immunotherapy treatments in complete privacy. Not even his closest Marvel collaborators knew. Director Ryan Coogler later admitted he learned about the cancer only after Chadwick's death. Lupita Nyong'o, Letitia Wright, Danai Gurira, and the entire Wakanda cast were equally blindsided. Anthony Mackie publicly stated he had no clue his close friend was sick. Born November 29, 1976 in Anderson, South Carolina, Chadwick studied directing at Howard University under Phylicia Rashad, then trained at Oxford with funding personally arranged by Denzel Washington. His career-defining roles, Jackie Robinson in 42, 2013, James Brown in Get On Up, 2014, and Thurgood Marshall in Marshall, 2017, portrayed 3 black icons across just 4 years before Wakanda's king claimed him forever. The Wakanda Forever salute crossed every continent after his death. Children dressed as their fallen hero at Halloween for years afterward. President Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, and global leaders posted tributes. Hollywood lost not just a movie star, it lost a generational symbol whose final acts of dignity will outlive every film he ever made. Whitney Houston. February 11, 2012, the day before the Grammy Awards. Whitney Houston was found unconscious, face down in the bathtub of Suite 434 at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills, California. Her personal assistant discovered her submerged in water at 3:43 p.m. Paramedics declared her dead at 3:55 p.m. She was just 48 years old. The Los Angeles County coroner ruled her cause of death as accidental drowning with atherosclerotic heart disease and cocaine use as contributing factors. Cocaine paraphernalia was discovered in her bathroom. Toxicology revealed marijuana, Xanax, Benadryl, and the muscle relaxant Flexeril additionally in her system. The 42-page final report listed 12 different prescription medications scattered throughout her hotel room, prescribed by 5 different doctors. The shock wasn't only that Whitney was gone, it was that the Grammy Awards were scheduled to occur in the same city the very next evening. Pre-Grammy parties were actively being set up at the Beverly Hilton when paramedics worked to revive her on the 4th floor. Clive Davis's annual pre-Grammy Gala continued that evening as scheduled, with attendees grieving openly. The next night's Grammy Awards became a global televised memorial, with Jennifer Hudson delivering a haunting rendition of I Will Always Love You that left millions in tears. Born August 9, 1963, in Newark, New Jersey, Whitney came from musical royalty. Cissy Houston was her mother, Dionne Warwick was her cousin, Aretha Franklin was her godmother. Her cover of I Will Always Love You from The Bodyguard, 1992, remains the best-selling single by any female artist in music history, moving over 20 million copies globally. She had completed Sparkle, her final film, just months before her death. 3 years later, her only daughter, Bobby Christina Brown, would die in shockingly similar bathtub circumstances, a parallel tragedy that haunts entertainment history to this day. Malcolm-Jamal Warner. July 20th, 2025. The day Hollywood learned that childhood itself isn't safe from sudden tragedy. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, Theodore Theo Huxtable from The Cosby Show, was vacationing with his family at Playa Cocles Beach in the Limon province of Costa Rica. While swimming with his daughter, Malcolm-Jamal was caught in a powerful rip current along the Caribbean coast. Despite immediate rescue attempts from beachgoers, he could not be revived. Costa Rica's Judicial Investigation Agency, Organismo de Investigación Judicial, immediately took control of the investigation. The autopsy, conducted at the Forensic Sciences Department in San Joaquin de Flores, confirmed accidental asphyxia by submersion. Toxicology screening revealed no alcohol, no drugs, no suspicious substances. He was 54 years old. His daughter survived after lifeguards pulled her from the same currents. Born August 18, 1970 in Jersey City, New Jersey, Malcolm-Jamal was named after activist Malcolm X and jazz pianist Ahmad Jamal. At just 13 years old, he was cast as Theo Huxtable on NBC's The Cosby Show in 1984. The series became the highest-rated sitcom in America for 5 consecutive seasons, fundamentally redefining how Black families were portrayed on American television. He earned an Emmy nomination at just 16 years old for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series in 1986. Beyond Cosby, he anchored Malcolm and Eddie opposite Eddie Griffin from 1996 to 2000 across 89 episodes. Executive produced multiple projects, played Dr. A.J. the Raptor Austin on Fox's The Resident from 2018 to 2023, and most recently appeared on Suits LA 2025, just months before his death. His 2015 spoken word jazz album, Selfless, earned a Grammy nomination. His death shocked Hollywood because he had been actively working and seemingly thriving. The fact that one ordinary family vacation could erase decades of artistry reminded an entire generation of millennials that the people who shaped their childhood are mortal. Sidney Poitier. January 6, 2022. Sidney Poitier passed away at his Beverly Hills home with family present. He was 94 years old. While his lengthy life made his death less shocking by age standards, the cultural shock was profound. It felt impossible that the man who broke every barrier Black actors had ever faced in 20th century Hollywood was suddenly gone. His death certificate listed cardiopulmonary failure with Alzheimer's disease and prostate cancer as contributing conditions diagnosed years earlier. Sidney's accomplishments redefined American entertainment. In 1964, he became the first Black man ever to win the Academy Award for Best Actor, for Lilies of the Field. The win arrived during the height of the Civil Rights Movement, fundamentally challenging Hollywood's segregated casting practices. He repeated the historic moment by anchoring 3 career-defining films released in 1967 alone. In the Heat of the Night, where his "They Call Me Mr. Tibbs" line became legendary, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, tackling interracial marriage at a time when it was still illegal in many states, and To Sir with Love. Born February 20th, 1927 in Miami, Florida, to Bahamian parents, Sidney grew up in poverty in the Bahamas before relocating to New York at 15 with just $3 in his pocket. He learned to read by studying newspapers between dishwashing shifts. His persistence transformed him from working-class immigrant into the moral conscience of American cinema. He directed Stir Crazy, 1980, starring Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, at the time, the highest-grossing film ever directed by a black filmmaker. He served as Bahamian ambassador to Japan from 1997 to 2007 and received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama in 2009. When news of his death broke, Oprah Winfrey called him her mentor, friend, and inspiration. Barack Obama wrote that Sidney epitomized dignity and grace. Hollywood didn't just lose an actor, it lost the man who had personally made every subsequent black acting career possible. Michael Clarke Duncan. September 3, 2012. Michael Clarke Duncan finally lost his battle after nearly 2 months hospitalized at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. The gentle giant, standing 6'5" with a voice like rolling thunder, had suffered a massive heart attack on July 13, 2012, at his Los Angeles home. His fiancée at the time, Omarosa Manigault Newman, performed CPR until paramedics arrived, temporarily saving his life. But the damage was catastrophic. His death certificate listed an entire cascade of medical failures: respiratory failure caused by anoxic encephalopathy, brain damage from oxygen deprivation, cardiac arrhythmia, myocardial infarction, heart attack, and a long-standing history of sarcoidosis, an inflammatory autoimmune disease causing granulomas throughout multiple organs. He was just 54 years old. Michael's path to Hollywood was extraordinary by any measure. Before acting, he worked as a ditch digger in Chicago, then as a celebrity bodyguard in Los Angeles, protecting Will Smith, Jamie Foxx, and Notorious B.I.G., the latter assignment leaving him devastated when Biggie was murdered just hours after Michael had switched off duty. His career-defining moment arrived as John Coffey in Frank Darabont's The Green Mile, 1999, opposite Tom Hanks. The portrayal of a wrongfully convicted death row inmate with mysterious healing powers earned him Academy Award, Golden Globe, and Screen Actors Guild nominations. His delivery of "I'm tired, boss," remains one of the most emotionally devastating moments in modern American cinema. He followed with Armageddon, 1998, Planet of the Apes, 2001, Daredevil, 2003, Sin City, 2005, and dozens of voice acting roles in Brother Bear and Kung Fu Panda. Tom Hanks publicly called him a gift upon his passing. What made his death so shocking was how recent his lifestyle changes had been. Michael had transitioned to a vegetarian diet years earlier and was actively pursuing better health when his cardiovascular system finally failed beneath the weight of his sarcoidosis. Hollywood lost a man whose physical presence had matched only the depth of his enormous heart. Bernie Mac. August 9, 2008. Bernie Mac passed away at Northwestern Memorial Hospital in Chicago, the city that had birthed his entire comedic identity. He was just 50 years old, and his death felt completely wrong because the man seemed to be just hitting his peak. Born Bernard Jeffrey McCullough on October 5, 1957, in Chicago's working-class South Side, Bernie had turned to comedy partly as survival strategy after losing both parents young. His cause of death was complications from pneumonia, exacerbated by sarcoidosis, the same autoimmune disease that had also weakened Michael Clarke Duncan's body. Bernie had been diagnosed with sarcoidosis in 1983, at age 25. The condition went into remission for years before returning with devastating force in his late 40s. When pneumonia struck in July 2008, his already compromised lungs couldn't recover. His comedic ascent had been earned through brutal years on Chicago's gritty comedy circuit during the 1970s and 1980s. His breakthrough came as one of the original kings of comedy, alongside Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, and Cedric the Entertainer. Spike Lee's 2000 concert film, The Original Kings of Comedy, grossed $38 million on a $3 million budget. The Bernie Mac Show, 2001 to 2006, ran for 104 episodes on Fox, earning him a Peabody Award and 2 Emmy nominations for his trademark fourth-wall-breaking address to America. His film work flourished simultaneously. Ocean's 11, 2001, Ocean's 12, 2004, and Ocean's 13, 2007, made him a reliable A-list ensemble player. Bad Santa, 2003, Mr. 3000, 2004, Transformers, 2007, and Pride, 2007, demonstrated his versatility. He had recently completed Soul Men opposite Samuel L. Jackson, which premiered 3 months posthumously, with Jackson personally dedicating his performance to Bernie's memory. The shock of his death rippled through every level of American comedy. Comedians who shouldn't have known he was sick, including his close friends Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer, were left devastated by how quickly the disease had reclaimed him. Lance Reddick. March 17, 2023. Lance Reddick was found unresponsive at his Studio City, California home by his personal assistant on St. Patrick's Day morning. Just 6 days before the world premiere of John Wick Chapter 4, in which he reprised his iconic role as Karen, the regal-voiced actor was gone at 60 years old. The shock was multiplied by his legendary fitness regimen. He had been spotted promoting the film just days earlier looking lean, energetic, and entirely healthy. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office did not perform a full autopsy. His death certificate listed the cause as ischemic heart disease and atherosclerotic coronary artery disease, natural causes determined from his medical history rather than post-mortem investigation. His family had requested no autopsy be performed, reportedly out of religious considerations and personal privacy. Born December 31, 1962 in Baltimore, Maryland, Lance studied classical music composition at the Eastman School of Music before transitioning to acting at Yale School of Drama, where he earned his Master of Fine Arts in 1994. His musical foundation gave him precise rhythmic sensibility that elevated every performance. His career-defining roles built one of television's most respected legacies. He played Lieutenant Cedric Daniels across all 5 seasons of HBO's The Wire, 2002 to 2008, Philip Broyles across 5 seasons of Fringe, 2008 to 2013, Matthew Abaddon on Lost, and Captain Irving on Bosch through 5 seasons, 2014 to 2017. His voice work in video games, Commander Zavala in Destiny, 2014 to 2024, and Silence in Horizon Forbidden West, generated additional millions in earnings while introducing him to new generations of gaming fans. His Karen performance across all 4 John Wick films alongside Keanu Reeves became iconic. Director Chad Stahelski personally dedicated John Wick Chapter 4 to him at the premiere, where Lance's wife Stephanie Reddick attended alone. His sudden death sparked national conversations about how cardiovascular disease silently affects Black men despite outward physical fitness. Cicely Tyson. January 28, 2021. Cicely Tyson passed away at age 96, just 2 days after the release of her memoir, Just As I Am. The timing felt almost mystical, as if she had been quietly preparing the world for her departure through the very pages she had spent decades writing. Born December 19, 1924, in East Harlem, New York, to Caribbean immigrant parents, Cicely had built one of the longest, most uncompromising careers in American entertainment history, spanning over 7 decades. Her cause of death was natural causes after a brief illness. She had been actively conducting interviews and promoting Just As I Am throughout late January, sharing memories and life lessons with audiences right up until her final days. Oprah Winfrey, who had personally facilitated the memoir's publication, conducted what would become Cicely's final television appearance just days before her passing. Cicely's career was defined by relentless refusal. In an era when Hollywood offered Black actresses only stereotypical maid and slave roles, she said no. She went years without working rather than compromise her dignity. Her Academy Award nomination for Best Actress for Sounder, 1972, made her one of the first Black women ever nominated in that lead category. She played Coretta Scott King, Harriet Tubman, and the title character in the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, 1974, aging from a young slave to a 110-year-old civil rights witness so convincingly that audiences believed Miss Jane Pittman was a real person. She won 3 Primetime Emmy Awards, a Tony Award for The Trip to Bountiful, 2013, at age 88, an Honorary Academy Award in 2018, the Kennedy Center Honor, 2015, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama in 2016. When she died, every prominent Black actress, including Oprah, Viola Davis, Zendaya, and Lupita Nyong'o, spoke about Cicely's irreplaceable influence. She didn't just star in films. She single-handedly created the possibility space for every Black actress who followed. John Singleton. April 29, 2019. John Singleton was taken off life support at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center after suffering a massive ischemic stroke on April 17, 2019. He had been in a coma for nearly 2 weeks. His family made the heartbreaking decision to release him from life support when no neurological recovery proved possible. He was just 51 years old, and Black Hollywood collectively shattered. Born January 6, 1968 in Los Angeles, California, John attended the University of Southern California School of Cinematic Arts on a scholarship, becoming the youngest person ever and the first Black filmmaker to be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Director, for his 1991 debut feature, Boys in the Hood. He was just 24 years old at the time of his nomination. The film grossed $57 million on a $6.5 million budget and fundamentally reshaped how Hollywood depicted Black urban life. Boys in the Hood launched the careers of Ice Cube, Cuba Gooding Jr., Morris Chestnut, Regina King, and Nia Long. Its honest portrayal of South Central Los Angeles became required film school viewing for generations of emerging directors. John followed with Poetic Justice, 1993, opposite Janet Jackson and Tupac Shakur, Higher Learning, 1995, Rosewood, 1997, Baby Boy, 2001, and Too Fast, Too Furious, 2003. His most ambitious project, Snowfall, 2017 to 2023, on FX, explored the 1980s Los Angeles crack cocaine epidemic. He was actively developing additional projects exploring the 1992 LA riots when his stroke struck. What made John's death so devastating was the silent epidemic it represented. Black men face stroke mortality rates approximately 50% higher than white men, and John joined a tragic procession of Black male artists dying at ages they should have survived. Every contemporary Black filmmaker, Ryan Coogler, Barry Jenkins, Jordan Peele, Ava DuVernay, publicly acknowledged that they stood on John Singleton's shoulders. Sherman Hemsley. July 24, 2012. Sherman Hemsley was found deceased, alone at his home in El Paso, Texas. The man who had given American television one of its most beloved and iconic characters, George Jefferson, was gone at 74 years old. His cause of death was determined to be complications from lung cancer, which he had reportedly been battling privately. But the truly shocking element of his death was what happened afterward. Sherman's body remained in refrigeration at an El Paso funeral home for nearly 4 months, while legal battles raged over his estate. A man named Richard Thornton claimed to be Sherman's half-brother and requested a DNA test before burial could proceed, hoping to claim part of an inheritance. Meanwhile, Sherman's longtime business manager, Flora Enchinton, claimed primary right to manage his affairs based on a will Sherman had executed. The court proceedings descended into bitter dispute throughout autumn 2012. When Sherman was finally buried in November 2012 at Fort Bliss National Cemetery, the ceremony was small and quiet. Nothing resembling the celebration of life such a television legend should have received. Born February 1, 1938, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Sherman served in the United States Air Force before working as a postal worker while pursuing acting at night. His career-defining role arrived as George Jefferson on All in the Family, 1973 to 1975, and its hit spin-off, The Jeffersons, 1975 to 1985. Across 253 episodes spanning 11 seasons, George Jefferson, the brash, hilariously confident dry-cleaning entrepreneur, became one of the most beloved characters in American sitcom history. The Jeffersons drew weekly audiences exceeding 25 million viewers at its peak. Beyond Jefferson, Sherman starred on Amen, 1986 to 1991, as Deacon Ernest Fry for 109 episodes. He voiced characters across animated shows including Family Guy, Dilbert, and The Cleveland Show. His financial struggles in retirement, despite decades of success, sparked broader conversations about how the entertainment industry treats aging black actors after their peak earning years end. Heavy D. November 8, 2011. Heavy D collapsed outside his Beverly Hills home and was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead. He was just 44 years old. The hip-hop and acting communities were paralyzed because Heavy D had performed at the BET Hip Hop Awards in Atlanta less than 2 weeks earlier, on October 11, 2011, his triumphant first major stage performance in years. He had looked vital, energetic, and seemingly healthy. The Los Angeles County coroner determined his cause of death was a pulmonary embolism caused by deep vein thrombosis. A blood clot had formed in his leg, likely during his long return flight from London, where he had performed at the Michael Jackson tribute concert just weeks earlier, and traveled to his lungs, blocking pulmonary arteries catastrophically. He also had underlying heart disease that contributed. Born Dwight Arrington Myers on May 24, 1967, in Mandeville, Jamaica, Heavy D emigrated to Mount Vernon, New York as a child. He formed Heavy D and the Boys in 1986, becoming the first artist signed to Uptown Records. Hits like Now That We Found Love, Big Daddy, Nuttin' But Love, and the Michael Jackson collaboration Jam dominated 1990s radio. He produced Mary J. Blige's classic 1994 album, My Life, shaping modern R&B for decades. His acting career flourished beyond music. He played Officer Alan Tyler on Boston Public from 2002 to 2003, recurred on Living Single as Regine Hunter's boyfriend, Daryl, appeared in The Cider House Rules, 1999, as Mr. Rose, and made his final film appearance in Brett Ratner's Tower Heist, 2011, opposite Eddie Murphy and Ben Stiller, released just 3 weeks before his death. In 1997, Heavy D became the first hip-hop artist appointed president of a major music label when Universal named him president of Uptown Records, where he mentored a young Sean Diddy Combs. Hollywood lost one of its rare, gentle souls, a heavy man whose heavier heart left an even heavier legacy. Bill Nunn. September 24, 2016. Bill Nunn passed away at his home in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, surrounded by family. He was 62 years old. His cause of death was complications from leukemia, which he had been battling privately for approximately 2 years. The shock for Hollywood wasn't only losing a beloved character actor, it was realizing how quietly he had fought, refusing to make his illness public spectacle, even as his condition deteriorated. His official name was William Goldwyn Nunn III, born October 20, 1953 in Pittsburgh, into a remarkable family. His great-grandfather had founded the Pittsburgh Courier, one of the most influential black newspapers in American history. He attended Morehouse College in Atlanta, where he met fellow students Spike Lee and Samuel L. Jackson. Those friendships shaped his entire trajectory. His career-defining role arrived in 1989, when Spike Lee cast him as Radio Raheem in Do the Right Thing, perhaps the most provocative film about American racism ever made. Bill's portrayal of the boombox-carrying neighborhood fixture, whose murder by police triggers the film's climactic Brooklyn pizzeria riot, remains one of the most haunting moments in American cinema. The brass-knuckled love and hate speech directly to camera became iconic. The character's death, strangled by police on a Brooklyn sidewalk, eerily prefigured Eric Garner's 2014 death by 25 years. Throughout his career, Bill collaborated frequently with Spike Lee, appearing in School Daze, 1988, Mo Better Blues, 1990, and He Got Game, 1998. He played Robbie Robertson, J. Jonah Jameson's loyal Daily Bugle editor, across all three films of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, 2002, 2004, 2007. He also appeared in Sister Act, 1992, New Jack City, 1991, and Regarding Henry, 1991. Spike Lee posted upon his death, "Brother Bill, this is the saddest day. Rest in peace. Wake up," quoting Do the Right Thing's most famous line. Hollywood lost one of its most quietly devoted craftsmen. Paul Robeson. January 23, 1976, Paul Robeson passed away at Presbyterian Medical Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, after suffering a stroke. He was 77 years old. By the time of his death, much of America had largely forgotten the man who had once been one of the most internationally celebrated performers alive. That collective amnesia itself was the great American tragedy. Not just his death, but how systematically he had been erased from cultural memory while still living. Born April 9, 1898, in Princeton, New Jersey, the son of an escaped slave turned minister, Paul was a true Renaissance man whose accomplishments seem impossible to fit into a single lifetime. He played professional football for the National Football League before earning his law degree from Columbia University. He became one of the most internationally celebrated bass singers of the 20th century. His rendition of Ol' Man River from Showboat remains definitive. He starred in groundbreaking films including The Emperor Jones, 1933, one of the first major studio films to feature a black man in the lead role, and Showboat, 1936. His Broadway performance as Othello opposite Uta Hagen in 1943 ran for 296 performances, the longest run of any Shakespeare play in Broadway history at that time. He spoke 12 languages fluently and sang in 20. But Paul refused to remain silent about American racism, segregation, and global inequality. During the McCarthy era, the U.S. government targeted him relentlessly. His passport was revoked from 1950 to 1958, destroying his international career. The FBI maintained over 1,000 pages of surveillance files on him. He was blacklisted across American entertainment industries. His income dropped from approximately $150,000 annually in the 1940s to barely $6,000 by the mid-1950s. The persecution devastated him psychologically and physically. He suffered from severe depression and underwent electroshock therapy treatments throughout the 1960s. By the time of his death, his name appeared in few American newspapers, a chilling testimony to how thoroughly his country had punished him for refusing silence. Meshach Taylor. June 28, 2014. Meshach Taylor passed away at his Los Angeles area home, surrounded by his wife, Bianca Ferguson, and his 3 children. He was 67 years old. His cause of death was colorectal cancer, which he had been quietly battling for an extended period before his family announced his diagnosis publicly just days before his death. The shock for fans wasn't only losing him, it was discovering how privately he had endured his terminal illness. Born April 11, 1947 in Boston, Massachusetts, and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana, Meshach attended Florida A&M University, where his powerful baritone voice and natural dramatic instincts earned him scholarship opportunities. He performed extensively at the Organic Theater Company in Chicago throughout the 1970s before transitioning to television in his 30s. His career-defining role arrived as Anthony Bouvier on the CBS sitcom Designing Women, 1986 to 1993. Across 7 seasons and 163 episodes, Anthony's character arc was genuinely revolutionary, beginning as a delivery man, then becoming a business partner in the Atlanta interior design firm where the women worked, eventually pursuing a law degree. The character represented a sophisticated black professional in mainstream television comedy in ways rarely seen during the 1980s. Meshach earned an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series in 1989. Beyond Designing Women, Meshach starred in the cult classic Mannequin, 1987, as the flamboyantly fashionable Hollywood Montrose, a performance that defined the film's comedic charm. He continued with Mannequin 2, On the Move, 1991, the sitcom Dave's World, 1993 to 1997, opposite Harry Anderson, and the Lifetime series Buffy the Vampire Slayer. His final television role came in BET's The Game, just months before his diagnosis became terminal. The Designing Women cast, Dixie Carter, already deceased, Delta Burke, Annie Potts, and Jean Smart, released a joint statement describing Meshach as one of the most gracious and joyful performers they had ever worked with. The colorectal cancer that claimed him became part of a larger conversation about how Black Americans face disproportionately higher mortality rates from this particular cancer. Robin Harris. March 18, 1990. Robin Harris was found dead in his hotel room in Chicago, having suffered a fatal heart attack in his sleep. He was just 36 years old, and the comedy world genuinely couldn't process the loss. Robin had been on the absolute verge of becoming a major Hollywood star. He had performed his stand-up routine the night before in his hometown of Chicago, doing exactly what he loved most. He went back to his hotel, fell asleep, and his heart simply stopped. Born August 30th, 1953, in Chicago, Illinois, and raised in Los Angeles, Robin had spent over a decade grinding through the brutal stand-up comedy circuit. He served as the legendary host of the Comedy Act Theater in Los Angeles, which functioned as the unofficial proving ground for an entire generation of Black comedians, including Bernie Mac, Cedric the Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, and Steve Harvey, who all credited Robin as a foundational mentor. His observational comedy about everyday Black community life, swap meets, barbershops, family dynamics, dealing with neighborhood kids, felt simultaneously hilarious and lovingly authentic. Robin's biggest cultural creation arose from a stand-up routine about misbehaved children called Bebe's Kids. The bit became so legendary that Paramount Pictures purchased the rights to develop it into an animated feature film. Bebe's Kids, 1992, was released 2 years after Robin's death as a posthumous tribute, becoming the first animated feature with an all-Black principal cast distributed by a major studio. His feature film career was just beginning at the time of his death. He had completed roles in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, 1989, Mo Better Blues, 1990, released posthumously, and most memorably in Kid and Play's House Party, 1990, as Pop, the strict father trying to prevent his son's house party. His house party performance became iconic, except Robin never lived to see audiences fall in love with him. The film opened in theaters 1 week after his death. His son Robin Harris II grew up to become a successful comedian himself, carrying forward his father's incomplete legacy. There you have it, 15 Black celebrity deaths that absolutely shattered Hollywood. Some left behind unfinished films. Others left behind entire generations of fans who genuinely felt like they had lost family. Each one cracked something irreplaceable in Black entertainment history that no tribute can ever fully restore. Now we want to hear from you. Which death devastated you the most? Was it the global icon whose passing stopped the world cold, or someone quietly forgotten until this video reminded you they ever shaped culture? Do you believe Hollywood does enough to protect its Black talent? Or are these losses preventable patterns we keep ignoring decade after decade? Drop your honest thoughts below. Every voice matters here. If this video honored their legacies, smash that like button, share it widely, and subscribe to Remembered Lives channel.